So good morning. Good morning, all of you. So we have started. We're at the end of the module 4. Before we start with the module 5, that is project planning. So we have left with a few of the topics, legacy system management, and also a few of the concept of a software maintenance. So the last previous 2 weeks, we have just tried to cover the concepts of software testing. So as I specifically stressed, development testing, it is a lengthier topic. Many subtopics are there, and test driven development, it is one of the small topic we have. Then we have a release testing. So again, under release testing, so what all the different types of testing you come across, that is alpha testing, beta testing, and what is the meaning of acceptance testing, that we have seen. Not only that, we have seen even what is the meaning of user testing, that is scenario based testing. So and test automation was a separate topic, right? So that was a cover up of chapter 8 from Somaraville. Again, we have the software evolution we just started, right? So what is the meaning of evolution process? So that we have seen. So to an extent, all of you have understood. And what is a verification and validation? It will be a common thing that will be asked in the development testing, right? V&V process. So this is all about I've given you the assignment wherein I've told you to write the concept of development testing also. So what is automated testing? So you have to specifically, you have to write what is automated testing, right? What are the automated test components? And what it could be asked separately, what is equivalence partitioning? Equivalence partitioning. So let all the people join. So before they join, I'm just recapping the things what we did previously. What is the meaning of equivalence partitioning? How do you do equivalence partitioning given the data, right? So if for example, if your program input doesn't take a value more than 100, so how do you restrict the boundaries? And if your program doesn't take the values that is above 1000, so how do you restrict the values? That is, it will not take into the consideration greater than 1000 or less than or equals to 1000. All right. Similarly, less than 100, greater than equals to 100. So as such, you need to divide the partitions in the case of software testing test cases. So we have studied software testing interface. So if you do a proper planning and study, you find it easy, or else you find it difficult, what I feel. Okay. So let me proceed. What is release testing? Again, release testing, you studied the concepts of MSC PMS system, and we have studied the user scenario of MSC testing, types of user testing, alpha, beta, and acceptance. Specifically explain accepting testing, you need to go through. Then we have the concepts of software evolution, which has started. So software evolution. So what is an evolution process? You need to explain what is evolution process. So what is the importance of evolution? Using a spiral model, how does this release 1, release 2 come across during the various stages of software development? So evolution process diagrammatically, last class again I stressed what all the things that you need to cover up while answering software evolution process. With the diagrammatical representation, you need to explain what is the meaning of change implementation. It's all comes under the evolution process. That is the first topic of this software evolution. What is evolution process? Section 9.1. What is the meaning of emergency repair process? Even this you should be able to answer. Next up is a program evolution dynamics. What is the meaning of program evolution dynamics? Even this we just started last class, the meaning of program evolution dynamics. I explained this. What does the program evolution dynamics consist of? That is the topic before software maintenance. What is the meaning of software maintenance? There are 7 layman's rules. I told you to just remember and represent in terms of a table. You have to specifically write what is layman's first law, a second law, till a fifth law. You have to explain, right? If they ask you write the layman's 5 laws, right? With respect to the program evolution dynamics, you should be able to represent that. Coming to the topic software maintenance, that is before legacy system management. Today we'll cover up and we'll go for the module 5, that is a software pricing. So what we do is in case of a software evolution or a software maintenance, so I explain the concept of what is a fault repair, environmental adaptation, and functionality addition. So I just explained last class what is the meaning of fault, error, fault, and failure. What is the meaning of an error? What is a fault leads to, and what is the meaning of failure? Fault is not equivalent to an error. Error doesn't leads you to execute the program, whereas fault will lead you to execute, but it will make you to have a failure of the system, in the sense system is running but it is not working in a proper way. You're not able to identify, so you cannot compare directly with an error, because if you have error, system will not start. With the fault, system will fall, but some malpractice will happen with the system, right? So here are the 3 categories: fault repair, maintenance to repair software faults, then maintenance to adapt to the software to different operating environment. Then we have functionality addition. We are adding the extra modification to the system once it has been deprived. So this is the diagrammatical representation I showed you last class. That is, how does the maintenance effort distribution we have with respect to the 3 type categories of a maintenance. That is, first category is fault repair. It is only the 17% of effort that you put in order to maintain. Similarly, 18% for environmental adaptation. Next is a functionality addition or modification, usually adding any one of the feature. In the case of software maintenance, it takes 65% of the contribution. So once again, I explain. So we have software maintenance. So as I explained, software maintenance is a major job rather than development. It takes a lot of time. Okay. What is maintenance cost? This you have to understand. So in maintenance, we have many topics that we need to study. So let me go with the topics that we have in software maintenance. First thing is we need to go through what is maintenance prediction. Even this I have last class overall I told what is the maintenance prediction, and this diagram represents how does the development and the maintenance cost rely, right? You could see in case of system 1, development cost and maintenance cost are 50-50%, whereas in the case of system 2 we have only the small part of the with respect to the parameter, uh, the cost. Dollar means it is a cost, so with respect to the parameter dollar, it takes only the less consumption of the resource capital, whereas the rest of the capital is wasted. That is not wasted, I would say, the consumed in the case of maintenance. Still more, there are many concepts to be uh, you have to concentrate. So before that, let me go to the concept total maintenance prediction today. So what all the factors that matters for a maintenance factors he has given it. So let me go to the maintenance prediction. So let me focus directly on the what is prediction. Prediction means you do predict, right? So whether it is a game, whether it is a game of cricket, you do predict based on this specific data which what will happen in future. Similarly, so you could prediction is nothing but here you could identify the cost that is being needed, right, in order to maintain capital cost. So diagrammatically you could represent this maintenance prediction. Here is the diagram that will depict you through the maintenance prediction. So this diagram shows the prediction and associated questions. There are different associated questions, right? So usually the predicting the number of change requests for a system, it takes a lot of understanding of the relationship between the system and its environment. So sometimes the system will have complex relationship with external environment. So we have categorized, that is to evaluate the relationship between the system and its environment. We should assess the number and complexity of system interfaces. That is the large number of interface and the more complex the interface is. And also the number of inherently volatile system requirement, and also the business process in which the system is being used. It depends upon the kind of business process that you are using inside. Fine. So you know what is the meaning of maintenance as of now. So after a system has put into service, that is into a maintenance, we should be able to use the process, or we should be able to use the data or to process the data to help what could be the further future maintainability. So we use certain metrics so that can be used for assessing the maintainability, that is the number of requests of corrective maintenance or the average time. Okay, so these are all the questions that you have to uh, go through. How many changes request can be expected with respect to the predicting the system changes. So with respect to the predicting the maintenance cost, what will the cost of the maintaining the system overall for the next year, that is a current next financial year. So what will the lifetime maintenance cost of the system, No, I want to calculate the lifetime maintenance. So what will be the lifetime maintenance? So in the case of predicting the maintainability, what part of the system will be the most expensive in order to maintain that? Okay. And what part of the systems are mostly likely to be affected by the change request in the case of predicting the system change? So we were discussing about few of the matrices, right? See, these are all the matrices. So complexity depends upon the complexity of control structures, data structures, objects, and methods. So next, coming to the major important topic today is what is software reengineering. What is the meaning of software reengineering? So usually the process evolution includes understanding the program, okay, that has changed and then implementing these changes. Implementing these changes. So software re-engineering. So let me consider legacy system. You know what is the meaning of legacy system? It is an traditional systems. So which are old, addicted with the software or a hardware are difficult to understand and change. So the programs so have to be optimized in order for improving the performance, right? In order to make the legacy software system easier to maintain, so what we could do is we can re-engineer the system. Okay, so we can re-engineer the systems in order to improve their structure and understandability. So what is re-engineering? The engineering, re-engineering, you are just modifying the existing legacy system. So re-engineering involve redocumenting the system, refactoring the system, and translating program to modern programming language. There are two important benefits from reengineering, so rather than replacement. So let me go to the diagrammatical representation of reengineering. So what are the advantages of the reengineering? Reduce the risk and reduce the cost. So what we have is the diagrammatically representation of the reengineering process. So this diagram shows you the reengineering process. Okay, so we have reengineering requires all these steps as I showed in the diagram 9 point. This oh, that is a depicted program. Okay, it is a general model. In fact, this is a general model for engineering process. Okay, the input to the process, that is the input to the process, is a legacy program, and output, okay, the output is improved and restructured version of the same program. We are going to get the re-engineered data same, it is restructured, whereas in the case of input is it is a legacy program. So we have source code translation. The meaning of source code translation is using a translation tool, the program is converted and old programming language. So that is using translation tool, the program that is in the previous mode is converted from an old programming language in order to the modern version or to a different language. So that is called a source code very important, source code translation. So then what we do is the next step is reverse engineering. So reverse engineering, so the second step, the program is analyzed and information extracted from it. It is the program, the new program modified is analyzed and extracted. So this helps to document its functionality and the flow. Again, the process is usually completed completely in automated process. The third step is program structure improvement. Okay. So here after reverse engineering, you could see program documentation, right? The third is program structure improvement. So within this comes here after program documentation to discuss about the program structure improvement. So that is the control structure of the program is analyzed and modified in order to make it easier to read and understand. Okay. This is a third step you have. The next fourth step is a program modularization. This is an important step. The meaning of the program modularization, that is related part of the programs, the related part of the programs are grouped together, and wherever the appropriate changes have to be made, it will be done. Redundancy, if anything is there, it is removed. So this stage involve architectural refactoring. Okay. So that is in the case system uses different data stores. Okay. So then what is data re-engineering? So the data in re-engineering, that is the data is processed by the program to change or to reflect the program changes, any sort of changes that has to be maintained. So it might include redefining the database schemas and converting the database to the new structure. So this is all about re-engineering process. Diagrammatically, you have to represent the flow of this is original program, re-engineering data, then you have source code translation, then reverse engineering you have to explain. Once you explain this point, program documentation, program structure comes immediately after reverse engineering. So once you do reverse engineering, we have program modularization. Then we have program modularization. Then we have directly the data engineering. So we have re-engineering different approaches. For example, sometimes we can skip the source code translation. Okay. So that if you are using an application programming language, so even it is not mandatory that you should follow the steps as it is. You can skip few of the steps, depends upon the kind of application you have. Okay. So as I said, there are many automated tools that we are going to use over here. Next, let us go to the preventive maintenance by factoring. See, let us review it. See, it is been given software maintenance completely section 9.3. So we have to cover all the topics that comes under section 9.3. So this is the second topics, re-engineering process. First topic was a maintenance prediction, right? So the third last subtopic in preventive this software maintenance will go for preventive prevent so this is what I explained, re-engineering process activity. So we have source code translation, reverse engineering, program structure improvement, program modularization, and data re-engineering. So in short, source code translation, what it does, convert code to a new language. Reverse engineering, what it does, it analyze the program to understand it. Program structure improvement, it will restructure or automatically the for understandability, try to understand. Program modularization, it reorganize the program structure. So as I said, it is not mandatory that you should go in the same phase, but there are many some of the automation things that will happen based on the application. This may change. And re-engineering approaches is a process of software maintenance, right? So cost factors for re-engineering, quality of a software to be re-engineered, Tool support availability, there should be availability of a tool, maybe the automated tool, extent of data conversion that is being required. So you need to go through these engineering factors. Let me go to the last subtopic of this, right? Preventive maintenance. What is the meaning of preventive maintenance? Let me just brief up before I end the session. So usually refactoring, as you know, it is a process of making improvement in order to slow down the degradation through the changes. That is a modification that happens in the current system or the current situations. You should feel your system that it is not being degraded. So it means modifying a program to improve the structure in order to reduce the complexity. Hence, it is easier to understand to the user. So refactoring sometimes considered to be object-oriented development, that is by using a unified modeling language. So whenever we refactor program, we should not add functionality, but we should concentrate on program improvement. So how well you can write the program, that is, you know what is time complexity. I had explained many times the factor of time complexity. Writing a program that consists of 100 lines, writing a program that consists of 50 lines doing the same objective. So it depends, how do you choose 50 lines 50 lines program or a 100 lines program. So I had discussed this many times previously, right? So finally, let me wind up the session, right? So the topic is preventive maintenance, okay, by refactoring. So I need to discuss refactoring. So refactoring is one of the method, okay, where an extreming we use the extreme programming. It is same as if like refactoring, like modifying the program. So we may use automated tools in order to do the refactoring. And you don't say that refactoring is a single process. It is a continuous process of improving through the development. Okay. For example, once you write a program in the lab, so it may be at the first attempt you write for the minimal functionality. After that, we'll tell you the modifications. After that, we may say certain systematic representation of the output, right? It should display at the beginning itself. For invalid output, it should come out of the program, that is exit, come out of the program. So such things is called refactoring. Okay, so it is a continuous process of improvement, so throughout the development and the evolution process. So the basic intention, that is, it is intended to avoid the structure of the code. Okay, usually the refactoring inherits all the programming, okay, the concepts of programming. So what could be the drawbacks, the factors that include in the case of so it is called bad smell in the program code. Usually the meaning of the bad smell, that is what all the factors that might affect. For example, the duplicate code, long methods, using the long methods, using unnecessary switch statements. Okay, one more concept is called data clamping. So basically data clamp occurs when the same group of data or the fields, that is attributes or the variables, reoccur in several places in the program. And specularity generality. Okay, so this occurs usually when developer include generality in a program that is being required, that is for the future. So the question could be explain refactoring. So finally, for the conclusion, so refactoring is being carried out during the program development, that is in the software maintenance. Hence, it is one of the effective way to reduce the long-term maintenance of the cost of the program. So simple example. So after developing, so analyzing concentrating on maintenance rather than that. So refactoring is nothing but while writing the program itself, when you write half of the program, analyze it, then you go ahead with the changes, you adopt the changes, right? So this is all about the uh, class we have today's session. So those who have not given the attendance on the chat session can give right now. So let me stop the session. Before stop session, all of you, those who have not given the attendance, can give the attendance. Okay. So this completes preventive maintenance, and we left with legacy system management. So it is a small topic that could be discussed along with the module 5. So tomorrow I would start with the new model called project planning. It is a small topic, in fact. So though there are so many subtopics, it is one of the important factors that you need to remember. Once again, um, I want to repeat the same things what I had explained. See, you need a bit patience to understand these concepts. As I said, the module 1 is completely a part of a software engineering, which is too important. Module 2 and 3 are the concepts of UMLs, Unified Modeling Languages. It is same, like it is have a relevancy with the object orientation. Whereas coming to the module uh, 4 and 5, it's too important. Module 1, 4, 5 are totally relevant with the concepts of software engineering, right? So here in the module 1, we studied with the requirement, collect, gathering the information, right? Analyzing the data, all those things. So here already you have developed this program or the system. So what extra measures we have to take? That is a testing, and you have tested, you have deployed it. So you are going to sell the product. You are going to sell the product over here. So how do you give the pricing for it? Here you have developed the system, and how do you maintain this? How do you maintain, how do you upgrade, how do you adapt to the change of technology, how do you make system flexible with the running technology? So all those things will be discussed over here. Okay, so those who have not given can give the attendance in the chat session. Let me stop the session.